We take a look at Auburn's schedule and rank the importance of each game 12 through 1 on this live edition of the Uptempo podcast.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Yes, sir. What's up, Uptempo gang? Hope everybody's having a good night, man. Dustin Smith and Blake Lane back with y'all with another episode. An idea that Blake had last year, and we had a lot of fun with it. Blake, I was thinking about this today when we were doing it, man. And I said last year, this video touched 300 views, and me and you were fired up. Man, what a difference a year makes, dude. We have definitely grown. Appreciate all you guys for being a part of that with us. How are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing well. Auburn men's golf in a barn burner right now. Got to putt a little bit better on this back nine if we want to have a chance to take down the Ohio State Buckeyes and play for a national championship tomorrow. But love to get to come in here and interact with these fans of the Uptempo podcast and talk a little Auburn football with you, Dustin. Go down this schedule and rank these games. I think this is going to be a fun episode.
Yeah, for sure. Daniel giving the shout out to the golf team. And y'all know that we're going to pull for Auburn no matter what they're doing. According to what Blake was telling me, he said it's not even worth turning it on, though, because they're so far behind and they're only showing putts. So otherwise, I would be supporting. I got the hockey game on over here, man. I'm pulling for anybody but the Florida Panthers at this point. Let's get in here, though, and holler at y'all, see how y'all are doing tonight. Brett says, war damn to the fam. How is everybody doing? We're all good, Brett. We're glad that you're here as always. Auburn Dad is in here. We appreciate you, man. Glad everything is going good with you. Pops is in here. Appreciate you, Pops. Love you. Rodney is in here from Bruton, Alabama, repping the 251 Lower Alabama as always. So it's good to see all of y'all in here. If I missed any of y'all, I apologize. You know I love you. Blake, let's get over here, man, and let's start this thing off. We got to get over here and do a little navigating real quick. Pull this schedule up. And then we'll move us over here.
There we go.
We got to get that sexy up-tempo logo out the way. Bang. All right, so here's how we're going to do this. The way that me and Blake are going to do this is starting at 12, least important, all the way going down to 1. And starting it off, we got the first couple ones. We agreed on the first couple ones. So we won't spend too much time on these. They're all kind of obvious. Alabama A&M at 12. We both agreed New Mexico at 11. And then ULM at 10. My quick thoughts on these three games, Blake, is just, I guess for Alabama A&M, the only danger I would say is if you come out and look sloppy and you win, 24, 28 to 7 or something, then there's obvious concerns. And then you've already kind of had your moment with New Mexico State, but just don't, for the love of God, don't get bit by ULM too, because then you're never going to live it down, because we've kind of poked at Bama for that for decades over that. It was my cousin's a big Bama fan. His first ever Bama game was the ULM game. And, yeah, boy, I've given him hell. So Auburn, and we went to OT with him back in the day, and my cousin had me on the phone. We've come close, bro. But other than that, man, these are kind of, and I mean, New Mexico, it's not New Mexico State, but I guess you can get a little bit of revenge on the state. I don't know. Do you got any thoughts on these three, man?
I rank Alabama and A&M dead last because I think that's just a tune-up. Yeah, go in, handle business, try not to get a bunch of people hurt. And then, just the other two are games that you're supposed to win. So go out there and beat the piss out of somebody, man. Leave no doubt. This ain't year one. This ain't last year. You go in, you handle business, and you get it to the locker room healthy and keep it going. Keep the season pushing.
Yeah, for sure. So now we'll get into where we'll actually have some discussion, Blake.
Mm-hmm.
I went at number 9. I went Georgia, and you went with Vandy. Why Vandy at 9?
I got Vandy at 9 because I think this is also another game that Auburn should win. All right, you get them at home. Vandy had a mass exodus on their roster. It felt like the entire team just picked up and left. I know you get Diego, some say Pavia, some say Pavia, however you want to pronounce it. You get him and you get Jerry Kill, the coach from New Mexico State, both in there at Vandy, but I don't really care. All right, I think this is a different Auburn team. I think this is a different squad. I think that when I look at this game, you should should work Vandy, and just go in there and handle business. Leave no doubt. Like I said, this is a game where, I know we've had previous struggles against Vandy, but you went up to their place and give me that same showing this year at our place. You went up there and handled business. It got a little sideways in the third quarter last year up there. We had that Omari Kelly drop on the post where Peyton hit him, and they get the ball back and score and everything. And
never saw him again, dude.
Right. So it did get a little hairy, and we've tended to kind of struggle against Vandy here and there, but it's just not a game that really scares me. And I guess that's kind of weird to say after what happened last year, but it's Auburn and Vanderbilt, man. Go in there and get the dub. You're at home. And I think you're going to have a pretty good record when they come in November 2nd. I think Jordan-Hare is going to be live. I think it's going to be loud, packed. Auburn fans are going to bring the energy. So I just look at this game as number 9 on my list because it doesn't scare me.
Yeah, I hear you. We won't go far down my list before we get to Vandy. I'm going with Georgia at number 9 because I just don't. I hate saying this, man, but I don't see it as a winnable game. Mm-hmm. We haven't won in Georgia since 2005, so I don't think our program is there right now. If this was at home, I would have it much higher up on the list, but it's just on the road, man. I don't think we're there. Now, if we come out and win this game, then the importance level of that and what you can do with that in recruiting and how great it will feel for us and all that, it would definitely be way higher than 9. But to me, looking at the first 5 games of the schedule, if you come out of that, even if you come out of that 4-1, and we'll get to Oklahoma eventually, I think you should be 5-0. But let's say you're 4-1, just losing to Georgia is not. It's just not the end of the world to me. You would still be 5-1 or 4-2 in that scenario. And then I'm looking at these next games at Missouri and Kentucky, much more winnable games in my opinion, saying, hey, let's go get those. And then we come back and we have a 3-game stretch with at Vanderbilt at home, UL Monroe at home, and Texas A&M at home. I think those are 3 very winnable games at home coming out of that tough, 3-game road stretch there. So it's really about where it's at in the schedule, it being right after you have 5 winnable games at home. I think you'll have a solid record. And then you've got that's the start of 3 tough road games. I just look at it and say, man, if we lose that game, which I think we will, it just doesn't really – who's going to be shocked? Who's really going to be upset? And I hate it, bro. I hate it. But they're our daddy. It's to the point to where Tennessee and Alabama was, where when it happens, yes, we'll tear the stadium down. Yeah. But – it doesn't feel like a rivalry to me anymore. Yeah. And I've hated Georgia more than I've hated Bama for a long time. And that went out the window last year because it's like we're not even competitive with them, dog. Like I'm just kind of over it at this point. Like it's 17-20 or whatever it is. Like they're just so much better than us. And I hate that it's that way, but that's just kind of what it is to me, man.
That's a fair point. That's you got to respect it because it's the truth. They've handled us, Dustin, and that is one reason why you'll see them a little higher up my list. But let's continue on.
Right, for sure. Going on to number 8, I have Vanderbilt, and you have Cal. I'm gonna be honest, man. When you sent me this today, I thought you were gonna have Cal a little bit higher up than just off some discussions me and you have had.
The reason I have them at 8 is because cross-country trip. Early in the season, I think you're better than Cal. I think you have more talent. Night and day. They're an improved football team. They're great coaching staff. They impressed me last year with the jump that they made and coming back in the second half of the season and winning all those games and just being competitive. But I think Cal coming into Jordan-Hare is just going to be a daunting task, and I think they're just walking into something where Auburn's going to be coming off of Alabama A&M. The offense has kind of got some traction. They got their feet wet. They're going to be pumped up. It's the first real home game where Jordan-Hare's going to be rocking. And everything with Ott last year and the trash talk. And you go out there and you win that game close. I think Auburn has something to prove with Cal coming to Jordan-Hare. And I think Auburn I think they smash Cal, honestly, and that's why it's just another game that I'm not really scared about. I think Auburn is better top to bottom, talent wise, and I think we got the better coach. I think we got the better running backs. Just my opinion there. Ott's a hell of a player, but give me Jarquez Hunter all day. I think we got the better offensive line. I think our defense is better. I just don't see Cal as a threat, and that's why I got him at 8.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. If you look good versus Alabama A&M, and then you come out and you beat Cal 17-21 somewhere in there, you're gonna be feeling pretty damn good.
Yep.
Coming in, then you got another, what you would hope is a winnable game coming there in week 2. I went with Vandy at 8, really just because of where it is on the schedule, where it's like, okay, you have these 3 tough games on the road, and then you're coming back home with a game that you should win. So for all the reasons that you just stated, Auburn should win that game. You handled business versus them last year on the road. Just it's I have it, kind of important. I don't know, but it's ahead of these other ones, just because it's a game you're looking at that point in the season as this is a win. So you better go win it. It's an SEC game that you're going to be the more talented team in. It's going to be your first home game in a month. You need to go find that dub. But I expect us to find it, and I don't think we'll have any, too hard of any issues doing that. Auburn, Dad, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you 100%. I'm okay with kicking this damn game off at 10 a.m. But Auburn, Dad says 11 a.m., kicking the end of summer with heat and just let Cal toast.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I'm all for this, man. I'm all for this. Blake, I know you just recently did a trip out to the West Coast. I've never been out there, but I don't know about that humidity, brother. It might get them.
Yeah, look, did anybody see Keandre Lambert-Smith's post on Instagram, his story?
I tried to. You sent it to me, but I don't have an Instagram, so it wouldn't let me.
So they're playing golf. Like some of the guys they're playing golf yesterday, and or Sunday or whenever it was, and he's like in the cart, and he said, "Bro, just looked at me." He had the temperature, and it was like 86 degrees, and he said, "Bro, just looked at me and said, 'Hey, this ain't even hot yet,'" and his face was just like, "What?" And you could just tell that like he wasn't used to this down here in this humidity, and look. It's hot and that if it's an early kick, man, Cal traveling the time zones and being in that heat, that's gonna suck for them boys out there because it's different, man. It's different here. It's literally that can drain you so quick, and that's why they keep the big fans with the water hoses in them and everything on the sidelines, is because it gets up to like 120 130 degrees on the sidelines down there, and so I'm not sure if Cal could really withstand that.
I'm sure they don't do this anymore, but I think my freshman year in high school was 2006, maybe 2007. 2-a-days from the middle of July until like the second week in August, dog. It was so bad, bro. It was absolutely brutal. Yeah, Keandre, it's gonna get a lot worse, dude. 86 ain't nothing. I wear a jacket at 86. That ain't nothing, brother. That ain't nothing. You're gonna see triple digits, my guy. Triple digits. Moving on to number 7. I got Arkansas at 7. Blake has Arkansas at 7. We should smash them again, right, bro?
Yeah, and the reason I put Arkansas at 7 above Cal is just solely because it's an SEC game. And I know you could look at my list and say, well, what about Vandy? Vandy I'm more scared of Cal than I am Vandy. But Arkansas, I think this is a team that, once again, they're coming in to Jordan-Hare Stadium. And this is a team that you went to their place last year and you folded them. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. I mean, that's when we really thought, like, hey, Auburn is, we're striding, we're peaking right here. Like, the season is trending upwards. But now they're coming to your place. I would love for this to be a night game. I really would. Like, I really don't want this to be an 11 a.m. game. I would like to get Arkansas at night and just get. I feel like we've been kind of robbed of night games at Jordan-Hare lately. And we really haven't gotten to have some fun in there. And look, they're breaking in a new quarterback. Sam Pittman's on the hot seat. They lost their best player in Rocket Sanders. I just, once again, I don't fear Arkansas, and I don't know how you bring a new quarterback. You lose your best player. Sam Pittman's on the hot seat. Who do you got at wide receiver? I don't know. I don't know. Just Arkansas doesn't.
Yeah.
They don't scare me. Their defense is cheese. Where are they better than Auburn? I can't find it. I can't pinpoint it. I don't see it. And like I said the other night, I don't see Mr. Harley Davidson coming in and saving the day. I just neck brace, no neck brace. I don't see him getting it done, brother. So I got him at 7.
And the thing with Petrino too is it's like we talked about this the other night when we were talking about the QB rankings. I haven't seen it these last couple of years. I respect what he was as an offensive person and all that. Back when me and you were growing up and that time period you're talking about, hey, he was putting up numbers. Okay, Auburn had some battles with him where he put up some rushing yards.
Yep.
But that was some time ago, dude. What can we go back to recently and say, okay, Petrino put it together here. Okay, he's still one of those guys. It's like Jimbo Fisher to me.
Yep.
Like you're just living off your name at this point. I don't see any evolution in what you do. There's nothing changing here. And eventually it passes you up.
Mm-hmm.
And Dabo Sweeney, I'm looking at you, brother. You're going to find that out if you don't get with it. But, yeah, I see Arkansas, man. I think Sam Pittman's a sitting duck. And it's kind of unfortunate because I don't think he should have to be. I think we just looked at the schedules the other night. They played the toughest schedule in the country, and they don't have a whole lot of resources. So but Arkansas fans have wild expectations compared to what their program really is. Like it's night and day between what they are and what they think they are. But yeah, I don't fear them, dude. And this is a team. I'm with you. I hope this is a night game, and I hope that we get to smash an SEC team in Jordan-Hare Stadium at night.
Like I don't want to get off on Arkansas and too far away from Auburn, but I kind of feel for Arkansas because now like you're already so bad, and Sam Pittman he was dealt a crap hand. All right, like he had nothing. I mean, they were terrible. Place had been ran into the ground for years after old Bobby P done what he did. But
Chad Morris came through there for a minute.
Yeah, it was rough, man. And so, like, they had A&M come in. Now they're having Texas come in. Now you're having Oklahoma come in. And you already have, like I said, A&M, and then you have LSU bordering you. And Ole Miss right there by you. And Ole Miss is winning right now. So Missouri, they're winning. So when these kids around the country, they're getting recruited, they're saying, well, why would I want to go to Arkansas? Why Arkansas? I got Missouri here. All right. I got Oklahoma now coming in. I got Texas coming in. A&M down here. LSU down here. Ole Miss, bang, they're right here. They're winning. Why Arkansas? So they've been, I kind of feel bad for them. The hand hasn't gotten any better for them. And no matter how much money they have with Jerry Jones and the Clinton family and all that stuff, the J.B. Hunts of the world and, Sam Waltons or whatever, I just don't see it getting any better. Like, I'm not sure if NIL can lure a 17-year-old to Fayetteville, Arkansas. And I just, and now you're a basketball school because you got Coach Cal running your basketball program, and he's going to be recruiting, top tier. I think they're kind of trending towards that, like getting back to being a basketball school like they were in the 90s. I think that's the route that Arkansas might be taking, Dustin.
Yeah, I wish I could remember who I was listening to the other day. But I was listening to somebody and they were saying, hey, as far as Arkansas goes, it seems like a lot of the NIL resources have been kind of going towards the basketball because they realize this is the avenue that we can be more competitive in. And then how much they put into baseball. I want to take this angle real quick with it too. I got their schedule pulled up because I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, Auburn starts off 3-0, and then you got Oklahoma coming up after Arkansas. If Auburn starts 3-0 and they look good in those 3 games, Auburn fans, the hype nationally won't exist, but
Mm-hmm.
in Lee County, we're going to be like, hell yeah, you know how we're going to do. So then everyone's going to say, okay, you're going to smash Arkansas. You'll be 4-0. Like before you even play Arkansas, that will be the narrative. Oklahoma's coming in here next week, yada, yada, yada. So, and then I'm going to look at Arkansas' schedule before I pose the obvious question here. Week 1, they have Arkansas Pine Bluff. Week 2, they have UAB. Then they have A&M, and then they have Oklahoma State before they play us. No, excuse me. So A&M is right after us, but they do have Oklahoma State. So let's say that they lose to Oklahoma State. Let's say that they don't look good versus UAB. All this, Blake, is there under this scenario right here, which is very likely. Do you have any concern of this being a trap game for Auburn?
No. No, because I think UAB might beat Arkansas. I think UAB might beat him. The Dandy Dilfers,
Right.
all right, at the University of Alabama, Birmingham.
Okay. Blaze on, baby. Blaze on.
Yeah, so I just don't see Arkansas being any good. Maybe they might have a place kicker somewhere up there that we don't really know anything about, but I just don't see them posing a threat against Auburn. I really don't. Not with losing KJ and Rocket. It's just not in the cards for me.
Yeah, Auburn Dad says it's the old SWAC conference, and listen, they were at the bottom of that one, right? They were behind the Texases. They got that one point. They got out. They got passed by SMU. Like,
Yeah,
Blake makes a good point. They're in a bad spot. They're in a bad spot. On to number 6. All right, I went with Mizzou, and Blake, he got Georgia popping up here a couple spots ahead of me. Why Georgia at 6?
so Auburn fans, get with me real quick. All right, I got Georgia at number 6 because this game still means something to me. I see Auburn being 5-0. Yeah, I said it, 5-0. I think we beat Oklahoma. We'll talk about that in just a minute. I got Auburn at 5-0. I got Auburn ranked going to Athens, Georgia. Do we win this game? Probably not. But you had them on the ropes last year. You can't go up to Sanford Stadium and you can't get your ass blown out this year. All right? So you're going to be ranked. You're going to be undefeated. You're going to walk in there and you're going to fight. You're going to bow your neck and you're going to compete. Do they have the Heisman winner? Maybe. Carson Beck. We saw what he could do last year. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He might be the best. He might be the number 1 pick next year. I don't know. I think he's really, really talented. All right, his arm strength and everything. He's super talented, man. He can make every throw. He's a great leader. All that good stuff. But we got to go in there and we got to show something. I'm so tired of going to Athens and getting beat 42-10. I'm so tired of going up there and getting beat 38-7. And I'm just sick of it. I'm tired of not being competitive. So guess what? You're going to be undefeated. You're going to be ranked. You're going to have a head coach in his second year. You're going to have a returning quarterback. You're going to have a playmaker in Cam Coleman. You're going to have returners on D that have seen this Georgia offense. Go make something shake. Will I be mad if Auburn goes to Athens, Georgia and loses 30-27? I wouldn't be mad. 5-1 and we lose a 3-point game to Georgia.
Yeah.
No, I'm walking out of there and saying, hey, that's why I got it at 6, is because it is still important to me. It is still the Deep South's oldest rivalry. It is still something that I passionately hate. I hate watching grown men bark at other fans. I hate them.
It's a tough scene.
I hate him. I don't like Kirby Smart. I hate him. He's a winner, though. That's why I got to respect him. But I hate red and black. It's the two worst colors. I don't like them at all. And I'm tired of losing to them. And like you said, yes, they are our daddy right now. They are. I mean, they have whooped us in every phase. And last year, they gave us a glimmer of hope. And then they snatched it away from us and said, ha, you thought you had us. All right. But this year, we've talked all year and the last 2 years about we want to flip the script. This game is important to me because now you got to show it. If you start 5-0, which I think you will, you got to go show it. Don't let them dominate you. Don't let them punk you. And that's what we've seen every time we've went to Athens is Auburn get punked. Auburn get punked right out the gate. Right out the gate, you get punked. And I'm tired of it. And so I stand there at 6 because this game still has a little meaning to me. And I want to see you be competitive up there. Like I said, the 38-7s and the 28-6s and all that stuff. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm sick of it. It's getting old. We got to go put on a show, Dustin.
It is getting old. You know, the graphic was made, right, for Joe Phillips to commit to Georgia. You convinced him to come to Auburn. A guy that they circled, they wanted him at the edge position, a position where they have just put all kind of guys in the league, and you really haven't. And you still were able to convince that kid to stay and come to Auburn. So at some point, you got to put it together on the field and show the next Joseph Phillips that, hey, because it was a huge first year, right? So he can sell that year one. I'm going to close the gap. Just watch. And then, like you said, we played them tight. Well, now you need to go up there and you can't get beat 38-7 this time. You got to look like you belong in the building with them. Look, I know this has been a rough stretch for Auburn football, but since 2005 and we play these guys every other year, come on, man. Like it's not. It's gone too far. And under the scenario that you paint, you start off 5-0 and you go up there and you lose 30-27. The playoff committee is writing that down as a win.
Yeah.
Just if it comes down later into the season, you're not being punished for that. If anything, you're being rewarded for it.
Yeah.
They've shown you that. Devin says that she is so glad she's never experienced the barking firsthand, and Kirby needs a new haircut. Hey, that man Devin is so busy winning football games and recruiting and building a program that he ain't worried about his haircut. I agree with you; it ain't stylish, but that man ain't concerned with it at all. And when his direct deposit hits every 2 weeks or every month, however it works for him, he don't care. He don't care at all, but he can't afford a better one. Daniel says that Sanford Stadium has become one of the hardest places to play. Yeah, dude. Having the most talented roster in the country will do that, and then you have a rabid SEC fan base to get behind you. What Kirby has built there, because it wasn't like a rebuilding project. Mark Richt had him at 9-10 wins a year, but he was definitely able to kind of get everybody galvanized behind the scenes at university, and then really build a program, as you like to say, build that monster up, dude. They're definitely there. I went with Mizzou at 6 because you got the bye week. You got a bye week before you go in there. I like where that bye week is at, right after the big game versus Georgia. So even though you're in the middle of a 3-game stretch, you do have a week where you get to rest up and heal. You get a week to prepare for Luther Burden and that lethal passing game that they're going to have over there. But Missouri's a show me state, and I'm gonna show me state with Missouri. Okay, show me. You put it together last year, and I was impressed. And I think that Brady Cook's a dog. I think he is one hell of a player. I think he's going to have a career in the NFL. And you know what Luther Burden is. Like, I think they got talent. But, can you do it again? Are you building something? Or are you going to kind of fall back to maybe 8-4? And, I don't know if that wouldn't be this drastic fall from Missouri, but it's definitely not 10-2. It's definitely not what they did last year. I'm just kind of wondering what they're going to be. Everyone just assumes that, okay, because of what they did last year, they're here now. They're going to take this next step. Are they what Tennessee was with Hendon Hooker, where it's still going to be a good year after they had that big year, but not quite that? I don't know. I like that we have, like I said, we have that bye week right there. And it's tough because it's on the road, but it's still a winnable game. their roster is not gonna be like if you put these two teams when EA college football comes out and you put these two teams on the loading screen together, their overall ranking is not going to be that much higher than Auburn's. At
Yeah.
least it shouldn't be. Their roster is not that much more talented than ours. And maybe ours is more talented. It's just that our talented guys might not be ready quite
Yeah.
yet. But I'm just saying, in that gap, there's not a big gap there. It's just that it's on the road. But it's winnable, and this is just that tough stretch, man. I really feel like, Blake, if we go 1-2 here, I'm looking at it, Georgia, Missouri, and Kentucky. If you handle your business in all these other games that you should handle your business in, I'd be okay with that. But of this road stretch, you're saying, hey man, we gotta win Missouri or Kentucky. I think Missouri's like would be a little bit more tough than Kentucky, which is why I have Kentucky a little bit higher on my list. So I'm very interested to see what Missouri's going to be this year. This is going to be a tough game for Auburn. It's a winnable game. And that's kind of why I've got it, right here in the middle for me.
I like that.
All right, on to number 5. All right. I just talked about Mizzou, Blake, so I'll talk about Cal here first and then let you give your thoughts on Mizzou. I got this one this high up here. I agree with everything you said. Like, we should beat this team handily. We should have beat them by a lot more last year. We shot ourselves in the foot for 4 quarters and kept them in the game, turning the ball over and all this kind of stuff. And Eugene just refused to allow them to win. And then ultimately, we finally put it together on that last drive. We should have smashed Cal. We are – just when you were talking about it, I was thinking about what our offensive line should do over 4 quarters for their defensive line. It should wear them down over time. So the only reason I have it at 2 is because, to me, it's not necessarily even about winning this game. I think Auburn wins this game, but I don't want Auburn to win this game 24-14 or 24-17. I want Auburn to win this game 34-17.
Yeah.
31-14, 38-21. I want you to come out of there with no doubt. I want Auburn to smash Alabama A&M like that. I think they will. And then let it not be what it was last year where you beat the hell out of UMass. And yes, you were supposed to do that. But, hey, you still did what you were supposed to do. And you still come out of it saying, well, we won 59-10. I'm not going to be mad about that. So you should be happy at that point. And then you come into week 2. And you put that clunker up that you made us all stay up to 1:30 in the morning for. And then we're all like, oh my God, this maybe not this. Yeah, exactly, dude. Like I'm pounding Red Bulls at midnight. And we're like, whoa, this ain't it. I think we suck. We suck. That's why I have it at number 5. I don't want to come out of the Cal game. Your first, or they're in the ACC now, so it's still Power 4. Your first Power 4, poor Cal, dude. Good God. Your first, so stupid, man. They're ridiculous. The ACC, you play on the West Coast in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Welcome to 2024. But, so that's why I have it up here, man, is because it is your first game of the season, because you know how it's going to go. We're going to beat Alabama A&M handily. What are we all going to be saying that week coming into Cal? All right, now we got a real team. All right, now let's see what it's a step up. Here we go. So I think Auburn wins this game, man. But to me, it's about, I think we need to win it and look clean.
Yeah. Hey, I'm with you there. I like that pick at 5, Dustin. I really do. And our boy Thomas, he's going to be making his way down to the plains and everything. Have to treat him to a good time and everything.
So take him to Mama G.
Yeah, man. Oh man, I miss Mama Jesus. It just get me there. All right. I want football season.
We're in 100 days, baby.
Yeah, I want football season bad. But yeah, that Cal game it's going to be fun. I'm last year. You talk about last year's game and pounding the Red Bulls, and I ate all my fingernails off. I was so nervous, like coming down to that last drive and everything. I was like, bro, all the smack I talked on Twitter. I was just up here just talking to Cal fans, reckless, like on the up tempo Twitter page, just saying like, oh, y'all are trash, like y'all are never gonna beat us, yada yada yada. And the whole time I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, I'm about to get clowned on. But yeah, I just them coming to Jordan here, get out of here. We're smashing those clowns. I went with Mizzou at 5. Because I think this is a pivotal game for Auburn in their schedule, coming off that Georgia game. Let's just say we lose at Georgia. You get the bye. You go to Missouri. I want to see how you respond against adversity. And that's why I put Mizzou at 5. And I've got Auburn starting 5-0, and I've got them losing to Georgia. So the bye week happens. You got a chance to get healthy. You just got banged up against Georgia on the road. Let's get healthy. Let's get our guys back. We go out to Como, which it doesn't fear me. All right, I know it's on the road, but 40,000 people and 10,000 of those people are sitting on a hill. Sorry, you don't scare me. You don't fear me. I watched Florida go out there and almost beat you in the last possession, come down to the last possession last year, and Brody Cook had, it was like 4th and like 15 or whatever, and Missouri got it. They converted it and ended up winning the game and all this. It was a crazy game.
We'll travel out there well too, Blake. I was thinking we'll travel well because we don't go there a lot. I know we have a good amount of fans show up.
Yeah, and you're going to have Auburn fans show up, and it's just not a place that scares me. So I do think, like you said, it's 6. I think it's a winnable game. The biggest thing is can our defense stay with their receivers? Can we stop the talented running backs that they have? Can we put pressure on their quarterback? But also, can their defense stop us? Like, their defense isn't great. I think it's the one hole in their team that is kind of successful. Like it's not, it's not really that great. Their DBs they're not good. So I just, they lost the kid from Mobile last year. He got drafted this year. I think that was their best DB that they did have. So he's out of there. I just don't see where they threaten me going on the road to them. I know they've got Luther Burden, which I think is the best wide receiver in the country. But I just think it's a winnable game. And if you want to win this game at 5-1, you go to Missouri and win, and you're 6-1. Folks, we're starting to talk playoffs. I don't want to throw that out there, but if you do that, you go to Missouri and win. So that's why I got it at 5. I think it's important. I think it's in my top 5 because you look at Eli. I think him and Hugh are kind of on the same path. I think Hugh's trying to take the same path as he did. It took him 2, 3, 4 years to get it going because Missouri was just so bad off, man. Like, they were terrible. I'll throw this out there as well. Cook was getting booed by his own fan base. Like, he trotted out last year in their first home game, and people were like, there's no way Drink's letting this dude start. There's no way this is our quarterback. Dude comes out and has a career year. Peyton Thorne. You want to have a year? You want to have a year like Mr. Cook? You want to come out, fan base is against you? You want to come out and have a year? I'm not saying you got to throw for 4,000 yards and all this stuff, 30 touchdowns and nothing like that. But you can change, all right? You can change it up. You can get this fan base behind you and start rolling. So that's why I like Mizzou at 5, Dustin.
Yeah, and when you were sitting there talking about their secondary, I'm thinking, all right, 6th game of the year, Perry Thompson, Cam Coleman, these guys should be caught up and rolling by then. All right, let's get on to number 4, man. What you got?
They did just pick up the South Alabama linebacker. So, I don't know. They still don't fear me, man, on defense.
Yeah, it definitely strikes as a toss-up game. Like, we could win it, we could lose it.
Their DC went to LSU. What's his name? Blake Baker, I think. He went to LSU, so another thing that I'm not scared about.
They definitely needed some help with that LSU defense. Looking at number 4, I went with A&M. You went with Kentucky. Like, as we get into these last couple games here, we're going to kind of all have the same thing going. Why you got Kentucky at 4, man?
All right, so I got Kentucky at 4 because we're going to them. I'll lay this one first out there. You're at Georgia. You're at Missouri back to back. Once again, how do you respond to adversity? All right. If you do lose those 2 games, how do you respond going to Kentucky? You're playing a run first team at Kentucky. Atmosphere is so in my opinion. I'm not really scared of that place. I know they gave us fits in 2010 and all that stuff, but it's not some daunting place where I'm just like, I don't really want to go play there. They're breaking in a brand new quarterback that hasn't played a lick of college football. They're a run first team. I don't think this is a great matchup for Kentucky. It just, when I look at it on paper, it just doesn't look like a solid matchup for them. I think by this time our offensive line is going to be hitting stride, and hopefully Peyton Thorne's playing well, and we're running the football, and our receivers are locked in, even those young guys like you just mentioned, Perry Thompson. And our defense, I just don't see Brock Vandergrift throwing all over our defense. And they lost Ray Davis as well, their best back. He was putting up 120 yards a game last year. Dude was running it on everybody. So you lose him. I think, look, if you do lose at Georgia and Missouri, you win at Kentucky. You mentioned going 1-2 in that stretch. So now you're 6-2. Let's just say you do lose Georgia, you do lose Missouri. I got us beating Oklahoma. You're 6-2 after that stretch, and you got Vanderbilt, UL Monroe, A&M, and Alabama left. I think we're winning. I think we're winning Vanderbilt. I think we're winning UL Monroe. I think we're winning A&M. So if you're 6-2 at that point, there you go. You go into the Iron Bowl 9-2. So that's why I got Kentucky at 4. I think this is a massive game for the Auburn Tigers.
There are certain differences in record that to me like are really different. 7-5 versus 8-4 are different to me. 6-2 and 5-3. It just feels so much.
It does
to me. So yeah, good point you make there. I'll tell you when I got A&M at 4, and then I see the comment section popping. I'll get over there and we'll finish out our top 3. I got A&M here at 4 because we scored one touchdown in the last 12 quarters versus of them, but you got that DC that you couldn't score on, and I just don't know where A&M is going to be as a program this year. You're in year 1, a new regime, all that kind of stuff. Where are they gonna be? But it's a team that we've struggled against. So I look at it and I say, all right, the week before Alabama, and at Alabama at that. So it could be, I don't know if Auburn's going to be favored, but it's going to be the game that you're looking at and saying, okay, this from an odds maker standpoint could be like your last opportunity to get a win, right? And I know, we'll talk about the Bama game. I'm not saying Auburn has no chance of going into Bama and winning, but again, you also haven't done that since 2010. That was 14 years ago. So you're looking at this. It's your last home game of the year. You got to be able to show that you've closed the gap to line of scrimmage versus A&M. That's what I'm looking at in this game. Can you actually move the football on their D-line? Have you closed that gap? Because these last 3 to 4 times, it's just been putrid, man. It's just been piss poor. You haven't been able to do anything. And then where it is on the schedule as well, last home game, man, this is a win you got to get. You just got to get it. It's an SEC win. It's an SEC game that Auburn can win. It's at home. It needs to happen. It's going to be a hype crowd, late November, senior day, all that kind of stuff. You got to get that dub. If Auburn wants to have the kind of year and the program's going to be stepping forward and all that kind of stuff, because here's why. If you lose that game, and then under the strong possibility that you go to Bama and lose, well, you're finishing the year with a 2-game losing streak again. And it's just not how you want to finish out. This is a game that Auburn should win, in my opinion, especially with everything going on in A&M right now. That's why I have it as a very important game. you got to win the A&M game, man. It's an
Yep.
SEC dub sitting there. You got to get it.
I'm with you 100%. I think that's why they're coming up on my list.
All right, for sure. Prince reminding everybody to smash that like button. Absolutely. We got a
Yeah.
good crowd in here. Daniel said to hell with 59-10. He wants 59-0. I saw Devin up here. She's liked it, Blake. She likes your 5-0. She likes it when you boog. Let's see. And and you got your top 5 in here. And had Kentucky at 5, UGA at 4, Missouri at 3, Cal at 2, and Bama at 1. And if you want to, man, explain to us in the comments why you got Cal at 2. I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Auburn Dad says first 3 games we should win convincingly and without injuries. That should be the standard. Yeah, we should. You can't really control the injury thing, but we started 3-0 last year. And I don't think any of us felt too comfortable after the Cal game and the Sanford game about what was coming versus A&M. So, yeah, we need to win those games, but I want to look a little bit better this go around versus Cal. That way I'm in versus New Mexico. And then let's go into Arkansas and Oklahoma feeling like, all right, man, we're good to roll. Daniel says he's so glad we don't play LSU or Ole Miss. I hear you, but I disagree with you on the Ole Miss thing for this reason. I know they're going to be good this year and all that, but I really think the SEC dropped the ball. There's the animosity between Auburn and Ole Miss fans is never going to be as high as it is now. You've got their head coach trolling our head coach constantly on social media, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not the kind of person that's going to duck tail and run. Look, I've said my piece on the Georgia thing tonight, but you've never heard me say Auburn should stop playing them.
Yeah.
I want us to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play them every year, damn it. I just want us to beat them. Same thing with Bama. I don't want that game off the schedule. I want them last game of the year, but I want to beat them, man. So I feel that way with Ole Miss. I want nothing more than to beat Lane Kiffin right now. Like I would, boy, that would be something for me. But I hear you, Daniel. I get your sentiment here. And the LSU thing, I hate it from the traditional standpoint, but I kind of agree with what Blake said the other night. And like, listen, dude, I hate the fact that we haven't played at the Swamp in forever. I went down to Tampa about a month ago and I stopped by in Gainesville and just walked around the stadium and the campus and all that. And I'm like, we never play here, man. Like we never get to come here. This sucks. And we've had great games with Florida. We never get to play Tennessee. That's a traditional rival of Auburn's from back in the day. And it just went away, in 1992. So seeing some of those things kind of come back will be fun. But I agree with you, Daniel. And I hear what you're saying, buddy. Brad with a little bit of reality in here tonight. 4-4 is a real possibility. Look at the way 3 of the last 4 seasons have played out. I'm not disagreeing with you, man. Like we wouldn't be shocked. It's just praying. I'm praying to Auburn Jesus that he delivers us from these dark times, brother, and we don't see something like that. But the way the schedule sets up, 4-4 would be really disappointing.
4-4 would be disappointing because I'm not a believer in Oklahoma and I'm not a believer in Kentucky. So that's why 4-4 would be really, really kind of, man, that'd be a blow right there to me. Because you get Oklahoma at home. Now, if we were going to Oklahoma, I'd be like, oh, man, like that's kind of tough, But you get Oklahoma at home and Jackson Arnold, first road start in a hostile environment, and Oklahoma's defense, it ain't got any better, folks. It ain't got any better, all right? Like, 3rd and 18, you can pick that up against Oklahoma. Their DBs, trash. Like, they can't tackle. They're not. Let's don't sit here and play like they're good. So if we lose to Oklahoma, I'm going to be upset. Look, they still got talent. They're a great coach team. I just think they're going to take their lumps. I think Texas is in a better spot than Oklahoma coming into this conference. I think Oklahoma is going to take their lumps this year. I really believe that. And I think Texas will be a little bit better off. I'm not buying that Texas is going to come in and win the conference talk either. I'm not on that train. I think they're going to be good, but just saying that they're going to come in and they're going to wax everybody because, they made the playoffs last year and they beat Alabama, but this ain't last year. All right, and as soon as they beat Alabama, they went right back. Quinn got hurt. They played the Big 12 schedule, and they went to overtime with Baylor and Kansas State and all that stuff with Malik Murphy. Look, if Quinn goes down this year, you got who? Arch Manning? in your back pocket. So I'm just not on the. I'm not buying the hype to some of these teams like Brock Vandegrift at Kentucky coming in and starting day one. This is your first gig. I'm just not buying it. I don't think Kentucky's gonna be that team. I don't see it. So starting 4-4, yeah, that would be a crucial blow. Can it happen? Yes. Is it likely to happen the way Auburn's been playing, Dustin? Yeah, it is. But I do think this is a more talented roster. I think this is a more in sync coaching staff this year, and I think this team has a vision, man. I really do. I really like what we're hearing. Everything on the ends of this team, behind the walls and everything, and I just like it. I feel like we're getting back to being competitive.
Yeah, I think things are moving in the right direction. Brad does say this is probably the most favorable schedule AAU has gotten in a long time, honestly.
Facts.
And that tells you something because this is not no cakewalk schedule. And we tell y'all all the time, man, you got to be like Rodney, bro.
Yeah.
All the cool kids, they try to be like Rodney. We appreciate you, Rodney. It means a lot to us, man. Definitely helps us out. See you, big dog. Love you. Thank you. Got to keep this thing pushing. And I see you answer the question. I'll get to your comment at the end, brother. Getting to number 3. I have Kentucky at number 3. Blake has A&M at number 3. The reason that I have Kentucky at number 3, a lot of the reasons that Blake talked about. This is an important game. You're looking at the end of this little road trip here, and I just think it's the most winnable of those 3 games. I think you've got to take one, and I think that even under the scenario that if you lose to Georgia and then you lose to Missouri, let's say you lose both of those games close, and then you win at Kentucky, well, then you come back home and you've got Vanderbilt and UL Monroe up the next 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So you can put something together. Even if you lose at Missouri, you got an opportunity right there to build a 3-game win streak up coming into that game versus A&M. So I just really, for me, it's about the point of the schedule. It's a winnable game. Winning SEC games on the road are tough. If Cam Newton had to fade away out of bounds off his back foot, somehow he come down with it. I believe it was Darvin that called it, right? Catches it on the sideline. So. And, we come out of there. Like, it's not an easy place to go win, especially when you don't go there a lot. But, man, it's a toss-up game to me as far as predicting it. If it was at home, I would favor Auburn in a close game. It being at Kentucky, it's just, again, I got to see Auburn win these kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a big-time game for us, a big-time opportunity to get a win on the road in the SEC. Not an easy place to play. And then, like I said, for me, I have it this high because of where it is in the schedule. You've got tough games before it, but here's you an opportunity to get a win and then build, and you can really build. I mean, listen, dude, if you can win at Kentucky, and you handle business versus Vanderbilt and UL Monroe, and you beat Texas A&M at home, you're going into Bama on a 4-game win streak. Let's say this. Let's say that Blake's right, and you start off 5-0, and then you lose close to Georgia, you lose close to Missouri, you get this win at Kentucky, and then you handle business in the next 3 games. Then let's say you lose to Bama, and let's say it's by 10, 14, and you're sitting there at 9-3. You're high if you're in this chat right now, and you wouldn't take that if it was given to you right now. But also, you're right there you're going to be on the door. You're going to be in the conversation. You might be one of the first ones out in that scenario in the playoffs, but you're going to be in the conversation depending on how everything else falls. Boy, I would take being in the conversation. There's just a lot about this game, man, that I look at and say, if you get this dub, you can set yourself up and make a nice little run.
That's true, man. And look, it's like last year when you went to Arkansas, all right, and you just smacked Arkansas. I was sitting in my car in Eugene, Oregon that weekend. The game was out of hand. I was like, hey, I got to walk back, charge my phone. We get to the car, and I'm sitting there, and I pull up social media, and it says, well, what do you think the Tigers are going to do from here on out? And I said, man, we're going to win out. we're going to win out. We're going to win 9 games. When I didn't think there was a chance in hell we could win 9 games coming into this season. Auburn is going to win out, and we're going to win 9 games. And it didn't happen. We actually lost out. So I look at this year, and the reason like I bring up some of these scenarios is am I saying this is going to happen? No, I'm not. But I think these are all scenarios that we look at where you mentioned, Kentucky, huge game. Okay, like we mentioned, if we lose to Georgia, lose to Missouri, beat Kentucky, you've got to win over Oklahoma on your resume, at Kentucky, and you're 6-2, and those are your only 2 losses. Is at Georgia and at Missouri. And Auburn fans, like, we got to take that. We got to run with that. 6-2. And you got Vanderbilt, UL Monroe, A&M coming up in your next 3. Come on, I'm taking that. And that's why I say then people are going to start swirling of you got a 9-2 Auburn team going into the Iron Bowl at Alabama. Folks, it's not technically the playoffs. That's a playoff game if you're 9-2 going into Alabama. That's a playoff game. It's a playoff game. Now, like I said, are we saying that's going to happen? No. But there is a possibility for it to play out like that. Anything could happen. So, I mean, Kentucky's a huge game, bro, and I like you having them at 3. I think that's a great spot. I have Texas A&M at 3 because of last year. Just we got embarrassed out there, and like you mentioned earlier, when you had them on your list, it starts in the trenches, and we've been pushed around by A&M. And the game, Caddy coached. Now, look, we still got pushed around.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't a fun game. Let's not sit here and act like we just dominated. Yeah, 13-10. What ain't that what it ended? Yeah,
we got the field goals. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't just sit here and act like we dominated A&M. Like it was a nasty, garbage game. It was bad football. It was bad football, and somehow we come out with a dub. Just off of pure passion and Jordan-Hare Stadium and this fan base. That's how we did it, and we had a guy coaching for us that loved the university. So I look at A&M and new coach, lost a lot of guys in the portal. What are they going to be? Is Elko the guy? I know our guy Jake Crane, he thinks he is, but the jury's out. Like, I saw what you did at Duke. You had a hell of a quarterback there. What are you going to do at A&M? Like, is you're just starting over. Like, it's a fresh start there. I'm just not sure where they're going to be at this point of the season. And I do think it's a massive game for Auburn. You can't let Elko come into your crib and knock you off in year 1 at Jordan-Hare Stadium. So I got them at 3 because I think this is massive for Hugh. I don't want to see us lose to first-year coaches this year at all. Like, and you know, we'll look at the list here in a minute, and I think losing to first-year coaches is a big deal for Hugh. I think people in the fan base will look and say, you know, why are you in year 2 and losing to guys, you know, like Elko at A&M who's starting fresh and everything. That's why I got A&M 3, man. I think it's a massive game.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. All right, Blake. We both got Oklahoma at number 2. And I'll just start off here, man. I feel like the same way I felt going into that Penn State game 2 years ago, and the same way that it felt like going into that the Texas A&M game last year. It feels like this is the game where we're going to find out what's what. We're going to see what everything's really all about with this team. They could be 4-0, and we still might not know everything we need to know. But you're going to know a lot after this one. And for me, I think that it's big time. That it's your first time playing Oklahoma as an SEC opponent. I think it's big time for a lot of reasons. I think it's big time, obviously, because of recruiting. I think it's big time from a fan standpoint, a fan on fan standpoint, being able to say, hey, man, like you come in here and you got to wait your turn. And you can act like that's not important, but I think it is, especially when you're a founding member of the SEC. And we've all kind of talked and said talked our smack as SEC fans for a long time. And anytime Oklahoma, because they've been successful versus SEC teams in the past, I've always raised my hand and said, hey, well, it's easy to get a month off after the season and then prep. But can you come in here every week and compete when you got to play Ole Miss and then you got to go to Auburn and then LSU comes into town and then after that you got A&M and then after that you got Florida? Like when you play that schedule, are you still really Oklahoma? And that's what we're going to find out. And I'm really excited to find that out. So you've made the good points a lot over the past year, dude, about they're coming in here Texas and Oklahoma. Is Auburn going to slide down the pecking order? Here's your opportunity to say no.
Yep.
Here's your opportunity to punch and say, nope, you sit behind us in this league. We got the opportunity to do it. They're coming into your home stadium, their first time. Make a statement, man. Make a statement that day. Let them know, hey, this is Auburn. You're not just going to come into the SEC and push us around because we've been playing football in this league since it started. I think it's a really important statement to send, man. That's why I've got it so high on top of where it sits in the schedule, it being the big swing game and all that. There's a lot that goes into this game, in my opinion, man. A lot.
I'll tell y'all a little something, and big shout out to my boy Josh. I'm on another show a couple days out of the week with my buddy Josh Mahler, and it's a more of a all sports type podcast, national sports type podcast, and he's a huge Oklahoma fan, diehard Oklahoma fan, like just through and through, like we all are, right, with Auburn. So the other night we were kind of talking after we got done recording an episode, and we were talking about Oklahoma coming to the SEC, and I was like, I just think they're going to take their lumps. Like, there's no breaks with SEC scheduling. Like, you don't get to go play Iowa State and,
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you don't get to go.
Kansas conference game every year.
Yeah, that holds 38,000 people, and Baylor and all that, like TCU and all that. Like, you just don't get those. You don't get those breaks, man. And yeah, and he was like, I think we're coming in, and we're coming in to win. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, Oklahoma travels to Jordan-Hare, and Jackson Arnold's first true legit start. And he was like, kind of similar to traveling to Iowa State. And I was just kind of like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that, because I get Oklahoma fans are expecting to win. But I think, like Dustin said, you don't get those. The scheduling is different. You don't get those off weeks, and you don't get to go to Kansas in front of 40,000, and it's a very difficult conference to maneuver in. And you get a month off with Baker Mayfield, and you get a banged up Auburn team, a beat up Auburn team down in New Orleans, and yeah, you beat us. All right, Auburn didn't need to be in that bowl game.
8-4 in the Sugar Bowl, playing a 10-2 Oklahoma team. Come on, dog.
Yeah, no business being in that Sugar Bowl. All right. So, look, when I look at this game, y'all know, y'all have heard me all episode. Auburn comes in 4-0. If Auburn wants to get to where we've talked about all spring, going into the summer, we're going to continue to talk through the summer. If Auburn wants to be what they want to be, you got to win on 9/28. It's a must win. This is a must-win game for Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers. Dustin made a great point. You want to mention about where you're at on the totem pole? I said, hey, 8-team league. It used to be 6. Now you added 2 of the historic teams in college football. So now it's going to 8. Do you want to fall to 8th? Do you want to be right there at the bottom of that poll? No. Prove yourself right here, 928. Prove yourself in Jordan-Hare Stadium. I mean, that place is going to be absolutely electric. And when I look at Oklahoma, I look at their coach. He talked crap about us when we were trying to hire somebody with Harsin. And he said, why would I want to go to Auburn? They have no stability. It's a mess over there. The place is getting run into the ground. Newsflash, brother. It's time. It's time. We remember what you said. And now you got to come to Jordan-Hare. We remember it. We get it. Like, it's still, I talk about it every day because we ain't letting him off the hook. I just think it's a must-win game, bro. And this could be the game where Peyton Thorne, if Peyton Thorne wins this Oklahoma game, how do we feel about him? If Peyton Thorne comes out and goes 4-0 and wins the Oklahoma game, how do we feel about him? How do we feel about it? I'm on cloud 9 for him. I say, hey, the image is changing. I think Cam Coleman's seasoned by 9/28. I think he's ready to go. I think Perry Thompson's ready to go by 9/28. I think Robert Lewis, Keandre Lambert-Smith, I think we're ready. I think our D-line should be seasoned enough to go up against Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's going to try to run the football on us because Jackson Arnold, I'm just not sure in Jordan-Hare he's going to be able to get it done.
Yeah, that crowd's going to be crazy, bro.
And the little film that we got to watch of him last year, he looked terrible in the bowl game for the first half. Second half, he kind of picked it up, but he didn't play great. So I think this is a must-win game. It's a must performance for Peyton Thorne. Gotta have it. So that's where I'm at with Oklahoma, man. You gotta win it.
Yeah, Daniel. If they give us a night game, bro, it won't be. It's gonna be 11. We'll get 2:30. Our best case scenario, 2:30, 3 o'clock. They're not gonna give us that game at night, man.
That's why I said I hope Arkansas is a night game because I know they're not gonna give us Oklahoma at night. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, they won't do that, man. They didn't give us Penn State at night. I don't know when who and when they are going to give it to us. All right, so and the one thing I was thinking real quick when your buddy said the Iowa State. Look, Iowa State, they might have a couple of dudes, but I don't know how many Keldrick Falks they got. I don't know how many Connor Lews they got. And I don't need to know because I know that they don't grow on trees out there in Iowa the way they do down here. And that's going to be the part that Oklahoma and their fans are going to find out is that when you're going to play Mississippi State one day and you're looking at it like, well, I'm Oklahoma State. I'm Oklahoma, and they're old Mississippi State. What you don't know is that everybody on the line of scrimmage from over there is from Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, or Florida. Something you probably didn't face versus the Kansas State Wildcats, who have a nice program, but it's a different deal up front. Something you probably didn't face versus the Kansas Jayhawks, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Boy, when Tubbs went out there, I think he won like 9 games the first year, and they were like, hey, we're running the ball too much. We're running the ball too much. We got to throw the ball. It's a different style, man. So Oklahoma will find that out. It's up to Auburn to send that message. And when we did this last year, me and Blake both agreed that as long as we did this podcast, Alabama will always be the number 1 game on this here episode because it's Auburn versus Alabama. It's the greatest rivalry in all sports. But Blake, I think that we're both going to take this angle on it tonight as well. Something different this year, and now you got to kind of send a message. You talked about first-year coaches, man. Kayla DeBoer, first time. That adds a little extra to it, doesn't it?
it adds a little bit extra. I think the Ryan Williams aspect adds a little bit extra to it. Yeah, Saban retiring. He's not the best coach in college football over there. He'll never be Nick Saban. So, do I expect us to beat Alabama? I don't know. Let's see when that time gets here. Do I think they're still going to be damn good? Yeah, I do. I think they're going to be stout. There's just too much talent over there right now. I think it'll be a couple years before they do eventually. Let's see how he recruits and all of that stuff, and maybe some of that talent falls off out of there. I still think Alabama's got so much talent on that roster, and they're going to be really, really good. But they don't scare me, Dustin, like they did with Nick on the sideline. They don't terrify me going into Bryant-Denny now. It's not where I'm just sitting there going, man, how are we going to score? Like, Saban's going to have it schemed up. He's going to make life tough. Yeah, you can sit here and throw Kane Womack in my face all you want. He's not Nick Saban. That Kirby Smart ain't on that sideline anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's just we're not in those days of hell anymore where he had all those coaches on on that staff and everything, and it was just like, man, we got to go there. I just don't feel that with Kalen DeBoer on the sideline. I think Kalen DeBoer is a great coach, but I think there is a little spice on this game of Hugh Freeze. Hey, you should have beat Alabama last year. You should be 1-0, all right, at Auburn against Nick Saban. You should be 1-0. Well, Nick Saban retired, and now it's Kalen DeBoer. So you should have beat them last year. Let's see what you can do at their place in year 2. If you go into Alabama and you get spanked, this fan base ain't going to be happy. No. This fan base is going to be like, hey, man, Nick retired. Kalen come from Washington. What's going on? How does this happen? He's in year 1. I'm just telling you how the fans are going to think. And some of the things that we're going to say is, Hugh, you can't lose like that to Kalen, because when we go to Tuscaloosa, we get blown out. We get blown out in Tuscaloosa. I mean, we get calls where we touch punts and we're 2 feet away from them, and
don't get me started.
So I think this is it's the greatest rivalry in college football. Well, I was listening to Crane and Company. I think it was Friday's episode, and Josh Pate said,
he was blasphemy on there, bro. Yeah, that was blasphemy. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you knew what I was gonna say though. He said that the game was the greatest thing that he's ever experienced, and I'm like, I hope to make it there one day, but I doubt it. I just nothing about that game looks exciting to me. The atmosphere doesn't look exciting. The lead up to the game doesn't look exciting. The play on the field doesn't look exciting. But anyway, that's for another day. But this is the one, man. This is the one. It's always going to be number 1 on my list. I know it's always going to be number 1 on Dustin's list, because there is that hatred there. The greatest rivalry in college football, and there's an opportunity for Auburn to go in here where you haven't won since 2010 and make a statement and say, hey, this is our state. We're taking over the recruiting in this state. We're going to win those in-state 2025 kids. We're going to take over the 2026 class. This is Hugh Freeze's state. Kalen DeBoer, you're going to be a 3-year project, and you're going to be up and out of here. And Alabama's going to be circling again like they were before Saban. That's what the flavor of this game has for me. And that's why it's number 1 on my list. It'll always be number 1 on my list.
Yeah, I agree with you. The DeBoer aspect really just solidifies it as number 1, and it really makes it a whole nother thing. Because Hugh Freeze, man, I hate it for you, but you've got one of the most disappointing Iron Bowl losses in Auburn history on your record. Now, how can you remedy that? How can you make us forget about that a little bit? Go up there and in this 14-year drought we're going through.
Mm.
And, all of a sudden we got jokes now. I don't have to hear about 4th and goal from the 31 anymore. All of a sudden I'm the one that's able to tell some jokes. You want to get loved by people in Auburn, Alabama? Win this game, man. Win this game, and you'll realize, like, there will always be love for you.
Yep.
It was time to move on from Gus Malzahn, but kick 6, dude, like, that man's loved forever for that.
Yeah.
He's always going to have a spot for that moment, if nothing else.
No doubt.
So it's just that important. And then you have the recruiting aspect of it that you're always going to have in this game. But even more so now with, all right, man, the greatest coach of all time is no longer there. And you were already, since Hugh Freeze came in there, you were already like knocking on their door. I mean, depending on where you looked, you didn't finish too far behind Alabama last year in the recruiting rankings, and you blew the game. You gave them the game on the field. So the argument can be made like, hey, dude, you're not that far behind.
It's a fact.
Go up there and get a dub. And is it going to be difficult? Yes. Am I predicting Auburn to win that game? No, I've got it as a loss.
Yep.
But if you go make that happen, flipping the script ain't just an upside down Auburn on a hat anymore.
Yep.
Now it's reality. And so, it's the most important game. It's going to be one of the most important games that's played in all the sports every single year. And we hadn't lived up to our side of that bargain. We put up good games at home. We put up, that by halftime, the rest of the country can go, what's happening again in Auburn? Let's go tune in. But what I want it to be is on like that Tuesday and Wednesday, the whole country's going, oh, that Iron Bowl on Saturday is going to be something.
Yeah.
10-1 Alabama, 9-2 Auburn. Oh, that thing's going to be something.
Yeah.
We got to hold up our end of that bargain again. And then just look. I mean, in this new world, with this new playoff, a competitive loss in Tuscaloosa could mean a whole lot for you, depending on how you do in the rest of the season and all that. But there's a million reasons why this game is the most important one. The DeBoer aspect of it adds a whole nother layer to it. And, go up there and beat them and then let the Husky Harsin jokes will come alive. And whether that's a real thing or not, they won't have a clap back. And you'll be the ones making the jokes, man. I want us to be the ones making the joke for a change. Boy,
No doubt.
that sure would be nice. We're about to get out of here, guys. It's been a long episode tonight. We appreciate you guys sticking with us. Had a lot to talk about, man. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're going to do some different stuff later on in the week, some different content. Just be on the lookout for that. I think y'all are going to like it a lot. Ant, all right, I told you we were going to get to you, Ant. He says, it changes. He's got Cal at number 2 because it's the first Power 4 game. Don't need another 14-10 game, especially at home. So I think you're kind of on the same line of thinking that I was. And we're just saying, hey, man, it's got to be. You got to look good in that game, or otherwise people are really going to start to worry. And I definitely agree with you, brother. Brett says we got a shot at Mizzou. They play Bama right after us. So they could
at
be
Bama.
Yeah. They could
be a trap game.
It could be looking ahead. A Pop says Auburn freshman also won a trophy for best golfer, equal to the Heisman for golf. Do you know the kid's name, Blake?
Man, I was just looking at it.
Somebody put it in the comments and we'll shout the young man out.
It's hold on, I'm almost there.
P-Pass says he wants Georgia more, no Bowers to them. Hey, man, I feel you, bro. A win over Georgia I'll definitely take it.
Ain't it Jackson Cavan or something like that?
Well, he plays for Auburn. Shout out to him.
He's a true freshman.
Yeah, that's impressive, man. That's impressive. Hopefully they do a better job in the future of televising golf. If we're going to be good at it now, y'all got to get it to us. You got to get it to us. So, yeah. All right, guys. So, look, stay on the lookout in your feeds for this new content that we're going to be dropping. Like I said, it's not going to be this little live show that we've been doing. We'll still be back next Tuesday and all that kind of stuff. So, stay on the lookout for that. And I want to give a quick shout out, Blake. I know we got to get out of here. but Birmingham Southern baseball team, my guy. The
Yeah.
Birmingham Southern baseball team. All right. The school got shut down. It's not even a school anymore. And their whole damn team was sick. I'm talking about getting IVs in the dugout type sick. And them boys still stepped up and won their conference championship, wasn't it?
They won their super regional.
Yes, so
they're going to the D3 College World Series.
Going to the College World Series, bro. Under that scenario, I just the determination, the fortitude, like to stick there. Man, you hear some of these stories about some of these high NIL earners, and it's like, wait a minute, you couldn't get to practice when you knew what time it was. And then I see kids like this playing D3 baseball for a school that no longer exists.
Yeah.
Dog sick, got every reason to mail it in and to not care. Every reason in the world. And they step up and said, nah, man, our season ain't over yet. We might not be a school no more, but this school still got a baseball team. And just so shout out to those kids, man. I think that was just super impressive, Blake. Great story, and I love to hear that.
Yeah, I'll close it out on this one. My final thoughts is Ryan Bliss getting called. There you go. Ryan Bliss getting called up to the Seattle Mariners. Will make his second start tonight. He is hitting ninth in the lineup, playing second base for the Seattle Mariners. He got 3 ABs last night. Got pinch hit for in the 8th, and they were in a close game with the Houston Astros. But his first at bat, he hit a ground ball. He was very aggressive his first at bat. Got up there swinging the stick and hit a ground ball to Altuve, and then got back up in the 4th and the 3rd of the 4th, and he squared one up right at Altuve at 2B. He was kind of shaded toward the middle, but Bliss is going to find him one, and then his third AB, he had a nice AB. Took a couple pitches, got in a 3-1 count. They didn't throw him anything, and he took the walk and found his way on base for the first time in his major league career. And then obviously he got pinch hit for in the 8th. So he's making his second start here in about 10 minutes. So if you got MLB, if you got the MLB Pass, MLB TV, or whatever, I will be linking it up here shortly and turn it on to watch Ryan. I love watching the Seattle Mariners broadcast and our baseball program getting a shout out. Look, I know we were bad this year. I know it didn't work out. Some of the pitching and everything like that, it didn't go as planned. But hopefully we make some changes in that department. Hopefully we get some transfers, and hopefully we can get guys on campus from our recruiting class. I think that's the biggest thing, because Colt Emerson was actually the shortstop that we were recruiting last year out of high school, and he signed with the Mariners, and he is about to get called up to the Mariners. That's how good he is. Right. He can play third, second, short, but he's hurt right now. So they're loaded with talent in Seattle. So happy for Ryan Bliss, man. He tweeted out 10 years ago that was his dream, was to play in the league at Safeco Field. So happy for him.
Devin, Streamies, www.streamies.
Oh, yeah.
Get on there, and I'm telling you, you can watch anything.
Yeah, LeBron even watches it.
Yeah, I get every Buccaneers game. I ain't paying for Sunday ticket. Y'all are crazy. Crazy. I'm not doing that. All right, you guys are awesome, man. We appreciate each and every one of you. Hey, if you're listening on audio, leave a 5-star review. Subscribe to us over there. And we love y'all, man. We'll catch y'all on the next one. We're out of here. War Damn Eagle.
War Damn, baby.